Okay, my name is Howard Eber, and I am an alcoholic, and Kathy and I are very proud to announce our speaker for this evening. Terry could not make it. He had to work overtime, and he told me that this is the guy. We know BLT Tom from some other meetings, and we proudly present this evening's host, BLT Tom. So please take it away, Tom.
Thank you, Howard. I'm Bricklayer Tom. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm grateful to be here. And yeah, Terry asked me to cover for him, and I absolutely had no problem saying yes. He's a good friend, and I respect and admire his recovery. And thank you, Howard. I was told that our reading for today for this meeting is out of We Agnostics. It's top paragraph on page 56. We'll start with that. Our friend was a minister's son. He attended church school where he became rebellious at what he thought an overdose of religious education. For years thereafter, he was dogged by trouble and frustration. Business failure, insanity, fatal illness, suicide, these calamities in his immediate family embittered him and depressed him. Post-war disillusionment, ever more serious alcoholism, impending mental and physical collapse brought him to a point of self-destruction. I'm Bricklayer Tom. I'm an alcoholic. And yeah, except for the post-war disillusionment, I was agnostic when I got here. For those that may be new that don't know what an agnostic is, several different definitions. Our literature says an atheist is someone who can prove the non-existence of God, and an agnostic has a belief in God but believes they can't prove the existence of God. To me, I keep it real simple. I was a textbook agnostic when I got here. I had a belief in God, but absolutely no faith in it whatsoever. And I had never prayed in my life because I thought it was silly. And I've always believed in God. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why. I was baptized Presbyterian. I don't even know how to spell it. I have no idea what it means. I was not raised in any kind of religious upbringing. Went to church on Christmas Eve and Easter Sunday when I was a kid, and that was about it. But I've always had a belief in God. Um, I'm one of those drunks who used to get locked up a lot. So I've read the Bible, at least the King James Version. If you get locked up as many times as I have, you will too. So I read it. Doesn't make any sense to me, but there's some things in there that I do believe are important. And one of them that's very important to me is actually in the book of Hebrews. It's chapter 11, the first verse. It's the only place in that book where it defines what faith is. And it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for. It is evidence of things not seen. That's the King James Bible definition of the word faith. And I do not believe in my 69 years on this planet that I have ever seen a better example of that than the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because I did not want God to be the answer when I got here. Please let it be anything but that. And I don't know why that scared me. I don't think I was afraid it wasn't going to work. I was afraid it would, and then I wouldn't be able to drink, which is what really scared me. But I got to the point of self-destruction, as it talks about in this reading at the end there. I got to the point where I knew this shit's killing me. There's something wrong with me I can't fix. I'm dying here, and I can't make it stop. And I was convinced of that because I had tried everything. I've never been to rehabs, not in my story. I detox in jail cells, cornfields, and under bridges. That's where I get sober. And I tried everything before I came into Alcoholics Anonymous to quit and control my drinking. I picked up a drink at age 13 and it flipped a switch in me. It took me 20 years to turn back off. And every single time I picked up a drink after that, I got drunk. Because I didn't know it back then, but once I take a drink of alcohol, I'm condemned to get drunk whether I want to or not. I didn't know that for 15 years. I just thought I got drunk because that's what I wanted to do. I drank for two reasons, to feel and to not feel. Something I wanted to feel, I knew how to do it. And something I didn't want to feel, I knew how to do that. And the only problem with that is if you do it for 20 years like I did, you'll get to a point where you can't feel anything except numb and scared and pissed off and alone. And I got there. Pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization, bitter morass of self-pity. I know what all that stuff is. It's all in the big book. My story's in the big book. I'm the jaywalker. I'm the tornado. I'm the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I'm the guy putting whiskey in his milk. I'm all through that big book. Extreme example of self-will run riot. So what happened to me was I got to a point I woke up in a jail cell with blood on my clothes and stitches in my face again, and I knew that I was in trouble. For some reason, I can't make this stop, and I got scared. Now I'm 6'2", 250-pound barroom brawling redneck stonemason from Baltimore. I don't scare easy. I was a bouncer for 7 years. I used to get paid good money at free booze to throw people through windows. Makes me sick when I say it, but that's who I was. But I woke up in that jail cell, I was scared. Whatever it is that's wrong with me, I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. Now I've been around AA. I had 4 drunk driving charges, so I'd been around AA for a couple of years, but I didn't come here to get sober. I came here to stay out of jail. And I didn't want anything you people had. I didn't listen to anything you said. I don't want to read any big book. You can know what you can do with them steps, and I don't want to hear that God stuff. And that's what I came in here with. And I was like that in here for 3 years. But I saw something in here that you'd have to literally be blind not to see. I saw people in Alcoholics Anonymous. Some of them I knew. Some of them I grew up with. Some of them I drank with that I hadn't seen in years. And I came to the rooms of AA, and there they were. There was something different about them. They weren't the guys I knew. Some of them had been sober 2 or 3 years, which I thought was impossible. But they were happy, and they had these new lives, and uh, they were, spending time with their family, and going to work every day and taking their paychecks home and paying bills and being invited to Thanksgivings and Christmases and birthday parties and all that stuff. And I freaking hated every one of them because that's what I wanted. That's what I've always wanted. I was jealous of them, and I envied them. And I cussed a lot of them out. But I saw people in here getting sober. So when I crashed and burned and I hit the end of my rope and there was no other options left and there was nothing else left to try, I came back to Alcoholics Anonymous not to save my ass this time, but this time to save my life, and I knew it. The jig was up. The war was over. I lost, and I knew I was in trouble. And I walked into a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I reached out my hand for the first time at 33 years old and got them damn 5 words to come out of my mouth. Will you please help me? 5 stinking words that I could never say to anybody. And I asked that question to a man who was 31 years sober that I had never met before in my life. In fact, I only ever met him once in my life. And I reached out my hand. I asked this man for help. He said 2 things to me. The first thing he said scared the shit out of me. And the second thing he said to me saved my life. And the first thing he said to me was, there's not a thing in this world I can do to help you. And then he got right up in my face. He did something most people didn't do to me. He got right up in my face and he poked me in the chest with his finger, which is something most people did not do to me. And he looked me right in the face. He said, son, if you want help, if you truly want help, I suggest you get on your damn knees and ask for it. And you better mean it. I don't care whether you believe it or not. Nobody cares what you think or what you believe, but you better mean it. Because if you don't, he'll know it. And he turned around and walked away. And left me standing in that hallway shaking. I know what he's saying. Get on my knees and pray. And I knew I don't know how to do that. I'd never done that. I don't know how to do it. So after standing there shaking for a couple of minutes, I walked back out on the porch and I tapped him on the shoulder again. His name was John. I said, John, I don't know how to pray. I've never done it. I don't know what words to use. I don't know I don't know how to pray. And this man, this wise man, without hesitating, he looked me right in the face. He said, son, if you've been beat up enough and sick enough and scared enough and desperate enough, you get on your knees and open your mouth, you'll know exactly what to say. And that's the man that saved my life. Because there was nothing else left to try. And when he said that that's what he did, I thought, what do I got to lose? I went back home, got on my knees in a pitch black room beside my bed, and I said, "Dear God, please help me. I'm a drunk and I don't want to die this way." And I meant it. My first spiritual experience was not the first time I got on my knees, it was when I got back up. Something was different. Something had changed. Something spiritual happened to me. And I got this sense that somehow, somewhere, everything's going to be okay. Came back into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous after doing that for 7 days. That's the only way I separated myself from alcohol. I don't know how anybody else gets sober in here. I spent more time on my knees than I did on my feet getting sober. God, please don't let me drink for the next 15 minutes. I didn't get sober a day at a time. I got sober 15 minutes at a time. It's the only thing that's ever worked for me. It's the only thing that's ever given me the strength to not pick up a drink. And I tried everything. And I did that for 7 days in a row until I detoxed myself. And I came back into AA. And I reached out my hand to a man who I'd seen around the rooms. His name was West Virginia Wayne. He was an old former Marine, did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, very spiritual guy, but he didn't play with me. And I walked up to this man and I said, again, second time, will you please help me? And here's what he said. He said, you got a chip on your shoulder, you got a foul mouth, you got a bad attitude, you think you know everything, and you probably ain't going to make it in here. That's what he told me. And I'm like, man, I'm not feeling the love here. Where's the love? You know? And then he said this, and I'll never forget it. He said, Tom, you have absolutely no idea what you got a hold of. You could not possibly even imagine what's being offered to you in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. He said, how old are you? I said, 33. He said, how would you like to start your life over again at 33 years old? I thought he was out of his freaking mind. He wasn't. He said, do you believe in God? I said, yes, sir. He said, good, because you're going to need him. Because without him, you ain't going to make it. And he handed me a big book, my 3rd edition big book. He said, read this book like your life depends on it, because if you were an alcoholic, it absolutely does. You know, without the information in this book, you ain't going to make it. I'm very grateful for them guys back then. They didn't parse words with me. They didn't blow smoke up my ass. They didn't sugarcoat this thing. They told me the truth. And they saved my life. I'm a walking big book now. If you give me a sentence out of that book, I'll tell you what page it's on. If you don't believe me, try me. I read it 970 freaking times. And the 2 most powerful sentences in that book to this day are probably no human power could have relieved my alcoholism, including me. And that God could and would if he were sought. Not found, sought. My experience is now, coming up on 29 years sober, that the healing is in the seeking. I know people who claim they found God. They make me a little nervous. I try to avoid them, actually. But people who have dedicated their life to seeking God's will on a daily basis, that's my kind of people, man. Because I've been doing this a long time, and I'm still, I'm still a baby at this. But I tell you this, from somebody who never prayed in their life today, I can pray faster than I can think. And I practiced doing that a long time, and it's been working for a long time. I do not have a God of my understanding. I get a headache when I try to understand God. It's a little out of my league. But I feel his presence in my life every day. Further down the page, on this page that we just read, at the end of that page, it says that for the first time he lived in conscious companionship with his creator. I absolutely love that. I don't have a relationship with God. I have relationships with people I can relate to. But I feel every day like I live in conscious companionship with my creator. God's not a part of my recovery. He's a part of me. I didn't come into AA and find God. I came in here and took these 12 steps and he found me. He ain't the one that was lost. I was. And I do believe today that most people, the reason they have trouble finding God is because they're looking in the wrong place. It's not an outside thing we have to find and bring in. It's an inside thing we have to let out. And that's the magic of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Didn't help me find God. It put me in a position where he could find me. I hid from God for 30 years. So today, what I have found is what the Big Book calls an unsuspected inner resource, a source of strength and courage, not of my own, that I can get through anything without picking up a drink. And I've been through it in 29 years. I come from a family of seven. There's two of us left. I've experienced everything you can imagine in sobriety. And I never found it necessary to pick up a drink to fix it or change the way I feel. That is an absolute miracle. The fact that I haven't had a drink in 29 years doesn't impress me at all. It's just a number. It doesn't mean shit to me. I know people sober twice that long. The amazing thing to me, the thing that astounds me to this day is that I have absolutely no desire whatsoever to drink. It's gone. It's been removed from me. You know, we've all heard the controversy in AA about recovering alcoholic. I'm in recovery. I'm recovered. I know what the book says. Everybody has their opinion. I just know what the book says. The book says we have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, and I have. I am a recovered alcoholic. What does that mean? Well, it means aside from the fact that I no longer have the obsession to drink alcohol, to drink poison, it does not mean that I now have power over alcohol. It simply means that alcohol no longer has power over me. And I don't obsess over it every morning. And then I can't, and I have a defense against it. It's not an effective mental defense. I'll never have one of them. But I found a spiritual defense that has never failed me once in 29 years. And when I tap into that unsuspected resource, I find the strength and the courage to do things that otherwise I wouldn't be able to do. The miracle is that I've been sober a long time. The gift is we've been given the power to help others. I love Big Book study meetings. The chapter 2, We Agnostics, that story at the end of the We Agnostics is my favorite story in the Big Book, aside from Bill's story. It is absolutely my favorite story in the Big Book. It's short and right to the point. I tried to fix this. I couldn't fix it. I got on my knees and asked God for help, and I've been sober a long time. Moral of the story. Man, and if you're sitting here new and you're trying to make sense out of all this, good luck. You're going to get a headache because it don't make sense. I can tell you exactly how Alcoholics Anonymous work. There's a whole chapter to it in the Big Book. I can read it to you verbatim with my eyes closed. I can tell you exactly how this program works. I don't have a clue why it works. The only explanation I can come up with is the 12 steps and the grace of God. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. And there's nobody in this room more shocked about. I wake up every day and I say, how the hell did I get here from where I came from, man? It doesn't make sense. It defies logic, medical science. There's no reason I shouldn't even be alive. I put enough booze and drugs in me in 20 years to kill 10 people. And the reason in hell why I should even be alive, much less have the life I have today. And I don't take any credit for any of it. I'm an alcoholic, but I'm not stupid. I don't take any credit for any of this except being sick enough and scared enough to come in here and shut my mouth and listen to you people and do what you said you did so I could maybe hopefully find what you found. And they didn't sugarcoat. I got sober in Baltimore and they didn't sugarcoat down there. They didn't tell you this is going to get wonderful and you're going to be a father of the year. They said, I don't know what's going to happen if you do this, but I can tell you exactly what's going to happen if you don't. You're going to be missed by very few people for a very short period of time. And most of the people that love and care about you are going to be glad you're gone. And I wanted to kill them because they were right. The people didn't spare my poor little sensitive feelings when I got here. They cared more about saving my life, and thank God they did. Alcoholics Anonymous is a bastion and a melting pot of mental illness. And I am grateful to God to be a part of it. Because you were the only people that knew what the hell was wrong with me and how to fix it. We are uniquely qualified. Only alcoholics can help alcoholics. I think God set it up that way. And I am very grateful now to hopefully carry the torch and carry this message like those guys did to me. This is what I was like. This is what I did. And this is what I'm like today. And there's very, very, very little similarity except my name and my social security number and my birthday. That's about the only thing that resembles the wretch of a human being I was when I walked in here 35 years ago. So here's the bottom line. If you have a belief in God, this program will work if you believe in God. This program will work if you do not believe in God. This program will never work if you believe you are God, which is what I was suffering from when I came in here and didn't know it. I thought I was capable of running my own life and keeping myself sober. I was playing God. And not only did I think I could run my life, I thought I could run yours too. And I made a horrible mess out of both of them. And today, I turned my life over to the care of God. I actually turned my life over to the care of Alcoholics Anonymous, and you beautiful people taught me how to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. And today there's just a little twist on that. I don't turn my will and my life over to the care of God. I turn my life over to the will and the care of God. And that's simply from practicing this for a long time and being here for a while, being blessed enough to be here for a while. So I am grateful to God to be an alcoholic. I'm grateful to be a sober, trusted servant in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm here just to carry a message to those who still suffer that you don't have to suffer anymore. If you come in here and reach out your hand and you can get them damn hot 5 words to come out of your mouth, you don't ever have to be drunk again, and you don't ever have to be alone again. And you can find sobriety, peace of mind, serenity, and the ability to help others. And you can live a life beyond anything you probably could have imagined before you got here. And if this stuff didn't work, I wouldn't still be here. The reason I am here, I'm not here because I know I can't drink. I'm here because I know I can drink if I'm not careful. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for asking me, Howard, and I'll keep coming back. Thanks.
And unmute so everyone can react.
Thank you so much, Tom. What an
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
It's been home.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Tom.
much.
Well done, man.
Awesome.
You, Tom.